Yeah, I think you can find it. So you can do one of two things. You can be successful or you can find excuses. And you can't deposit
Hmm.
excuses. And you can't pay your rent or your mortgage or anything with excuses. So at the end of the day, I firmly believe there's two types of people in this world. There's sheeps and there's wolves. And sheeps get eaten, wolves eat. And I think at the end of the day, we're in a sales position with sales. We're sales folks at heart. If you're starting your day or you're finding problems, i.e., excuses, you will surround yourself with solutions that match those excuses.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. I have a very special guest today. I have the broker and owner of Century 21 Limitless
Yeah.
and the founder of the Seyboth Team, Kyle Seyboth, here working across Rhode Island, Southern Mass. You've been in the business since 2010. You do a little bit of everything, work residential, commercial, investment properties, and you've also been an author of a real estate book called Being the Best Version of Yourself. I'm going the opposite way. I'm asking people why do they suck. So this sounds like a good conversation we're about to have.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's do it. Yeah, I think you hit everything on the head.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about yourself, just as far as a background and where you're at. How did you get started in real estate? I always like to hear the backstory.
Got started, like you said, in 2010. Got started in part time, and the goal at the time was just to sell maybe one or two houses a year. That was essentially the goal, was for us to sell one or two houses a year, and position that. My first year, I did 7 transactions. The best year I had, I did transactions. So far cry from seven. Got into the business because it was something that was interesting to me as far as real estate in general. But other than that, I just kept plugging along.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. So let's talk a little bit here. So you went from a solo producer to a broker owner, like a lot of people do, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So with that being said, like I guess how what was it? When was the time? When was it? How did you? I guess let's start in the basics of it. It was like the daily habits of becoming that solopreneur, as we like to call it, into somebody who's wanting to make a bigger impact. Being a broker owner, obviously there's more risk, but there's also more reward when you make that jump. I just did that myself 2 years ago. So what was it that daily habits? How did you get yourself into that working mode, and how did you make that transition?
Yeah, I would say, look, at the end of the day, I was an individual agent that sold a lot of real estate. I'm still an individual agent that sells a lot of real estate. But what I've done now is transitioned into a business owner, right? So now we own the brokerage, and the brokerage has 120 agents within it. That 120 agents allows us to grow and have more of a market share and presence here and locally in Rhode Island. The transition really came from the knowledge and awareness that as an individual entrepreneur, you can only go so far, right? But as a business owner, you have a tangible, sellable asset down the road. So one of the things we do is we own a brokerage. I also own a development company that does a lot of development, single family, multifamily, ground up construction. We're developing 400 plus units right now. We also own an ADU firm that franchises ADU companies throughout the U.S. We own a company called Any Tiny Homes. Also own a dispensary in the marijuana business. So we are very well versed in different businesses, and it all stems from and started from real estate.
Yeah, I love it. And I love it because that's really the trajectory I'm on. There's all these little opportunities. We see that. I think in real estate, it opens your mind to one, just how money really works, and then two, all the opportunity. I think a lot of people early on in their careers, we talk a little bit about this, get shiny object syndrome. And I certainly did that early on in my career as well. And you start dialing in, and instead of getting really good at one thing, we try to get really good at a whole bunch of things. And it takes longer to get to the end game. And being able to, I guess, the one thing that you see is when do you know you need to make your next move? I guess that's
So
probably
I
a
would
good.
say, actually, I fell very much victim to shiny object syndrome. We had about 5 or 10 other businesses that failed miserably and lost a ton of money. So I made a ton of money in real estate, did really well, reinvested it in businesses, thinking that if I found a partner that worked as hard as I did and had the same passion, that it would work out really well. Unfortunately, I came to the realization that most of the folks don't have the same passion, don't have the same work ethic, and or have the same knowledge in their field. So we got burnt 4 or 5 different times for significant dollar figures. And what I would say to anybody listening and watching myself is stay in your lane, stay in your sphere, stay in your world. So if you notice the businesses I rattled off, brokerage, real estate, sales, real estate, element, real estate, tiny homes, real estate. I took one flyer and the flyer was on cannabis. And the one flyer I took, it finally landed. Outside of that, I think only objects is something that anyone that gets to that point should tell themselves, unless I'm willing to lose this money, I don't want to do it. And I think
So, what's the one piece of advice you give agents trying to double their production that nobody else is telling them?
the end of the day, it's. I'm going to tell you what no one tells you. It's very simple. I went to dinner with two of our younger agents last night, and it's a very simple game. The more people you talk to, the more people you get in front of, the more people that you associate with, the more transactions you can do. And I think the limiting beliefs that people put on each other, for example, when I was coming up, I was applauded, right? Up until I got to a certain point, and then I was hated, right? So when I did 44, 80, 100 transactions, everybody's clapping. Look at the young kid go. When I did 575, people wanted to put me on the cross and crucify me. I became the person that no one wanted, that agents really just, just didn't like for no reason. They didn't even like me, they didn't know me, but it got to that point. So I would say stop letting limiting beliefs tell you how many transactions you can do. I've proven that doing 500 alone, which was all by myself and just support, is doable. And someone may someday do 1,000. And these aren't entry only; these are actual transactions. Meeting a buyer, meeting a seller, going through the whole transaction period.
Man, that's like two a day without a break.
Yeah, I was cranking, man. I was cranking. We're doing really well
Have
this
you
year.
have you thought about stepping like how long can you run that hot? Because I do about 100 a year myself. How do you run that hot for that long?
We've been running hot for a while. Where we're at right now, where I'm at right now, this year my goal is to do 360 to 400, 30 a month. I think that why I'm running that hot for so long is unfortunately some of the bad business decisions I made took a lot of capital. So you're playing catch up, man, to be honest. Like you know the money you had that you lost and you want it back. And now it's like I was listening to a YouTube, not a YouTube, Instagram reel, right? And the guy said, happiness is truly defined by someone that has had success, has lost a bunch, and had success again. And I feel like that's the trajectory that I've been on is I had a ton of success. I did really well. Now I'm smart decisions with money as well. But then I lost a bunch of money. Now I'm at what I call the Phoenix, the rebrand, the rebirth, coming back to and surpassing where I was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like this, right? You're
Yeah, it's that
just
roller coaster. It's
yeah,
that peak valley and roller coaster. And the lessons that I learned along the way are invaluable. You couldn't learn them, right? I am probably the best version of myself from a business standpoint I've been in 15 years. And without going through what I went through, it wouldn't have happened because
right.
I would have stayed complacent where I was. And now we're running what I think the tiny homes franchise that we have and that we own and as a franchisor, I think it's $100 million business within the next
Mhm.
5 years. And that's real. And I think I wasn't ready for that. And whether you believe in a higher power or you believe in the universe, someone, somewhere, somehow said, you're not ready for this. You need to make changes. If you don't make these changes, I will not give you this gift.
Yeah. And we in Wisconsin where I'm at, I'm in Green Bay, but we really haven't done a lot with tiny homes. Actually, it's ironic. I'm listing three of them today, but it's wild to think of. It just makes so much sense with people downsizing, minimizing accessibility, housing affordability. Like the tiny home thing makes so much sense right now. So what was it that obviously if you've researched it, you got into it. How did that transition go? Like how did you get into it?
So it's a thematic play, in my opinion. So it's affordable housing and aging in place. Those are the two
Mhm.
themes. And
Yeah.
baby boomers are getting older, and
Yep.
younger people are getting harder and harder. It's becoming harder and harder for them to afford housing. So those
Right.
two themes are not only short term and transient, but those are long term trends that are here to stay. So what I did was a few years ago, we actually bought into a tiny home franchise as a franchisee. That franchisor unfortunately embezzled a bunch of funds and went out of business. However, we were able to understand the business so well from our backgrounds, my partners and we were able to take the good, bad, and ugly and implement it into our business. And now we are the franchisor, and we provide probably 10x what the other franchisor was providing. And it's just been so far. We started selling franchises this year. We've sold 5 territories already. We've got another 5 that are allotted to sign within the next 4 weeks. I think we'll sell 25 by the end of the year, and I think we'll be at 100 in the next 24 months. It's a great business. We have a great model. We have a great mousetrap. We provide the leads, the back end, the VAs. We provide anything and everything that someone would need to run the franchise. And the best clientele for us is real estate brokers, agents, developers, investors, contractors, anyone that understands the real estate game enough to understand the sales component and the operations of construction. And we found that those are going to be our most successful franchisees.
Nice. We may have to talk off camera on this one.
When you hear what we provide, definitely, obviously, you do what you need to do, and I'm not trying to pitch anything at all, but I am a investor at heart. I am a entrepreneur at heart, and this is probably out of everything. Now, I run a cannabis facility as well that we do. We're a dispensary. I don't know if it's legal where you are, and we do extremely well. Our retail sales are phenomenal, and this business is more exciting to me because it's just a way stronger, longer thematic approach to growing. So they expect the TAM, the addressable market in ADUs, to be 14 billion by 2033, and right now we're less than 2 billion. So that's a 7x increase.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That goes to show you too, you have to be fluid in real estate, right? Because right now we're talking about the affordability issues in real estate. And so agents will use that as an excuse for them to not be successful. I think that's the one thing I see with struggling agents is they make excuses. They're talking about the property taxes went up in this region, or the houses are more affordable, or you always hear the interest rates. My buyers are waiting for interest rates. For those that are using those excuses, give it to them.
Yeah, I think you can find it. So you can do one of two things. You can be successful, or you can find excuses. And you can't deposit excuses. And you can't pay your rent or your mortgage or anything with excuses. So at the end of the day, I firmly believe there's 2 types of people in this world. There's sheeps and there's wolves. And sheeps get eaten, wolves eat. And I think at the end of the day, we're in a sales position with sales. We're sales folks at heart. If you're starting your day or you're finding problems, i.e. excuses, you will surround yourself with solutions that match those excuses. For example, I don't believe there's anything in this world I can't do. Secondly, I don't believe that anyone will tell me what I can and can't do. And thirdly, I think when I look at it, if I put my mind, effort, and energy into something, I feel like it's possible. I think if what happens is so many people take this noise, I call it noise, outside noise, and they utilize that noise as a reason why they're not successful. But the reality is you're not successful because you're finding the objections within yourself to cause you to be unsuccessful. So excuses are everywhere, and you can find them and you can utilize them. And I can give you a bunch of little punchlines that are cute little punchlines about excuses. But the reality is if you try to find solutions and you try to solve problems and you're proactive in your search, you shall be successful. And that's the reality.
100%. We're all problem solvers, right? At the end of the day.
We have to be. There's I always say this too. There's problem solvers and complicators. You can be either or, but you can't be both. You can be a problem solver, or you can be a complicator, but you can't be both.
For sure. You're obviously super confident in what you're doing, selling 500 houses a year. Some people may mistake that for ego. And you probably see that on the other side of things too, right? Like, how do agents screw up in negotiations when their ego gets in the way versus and seeing deals that should close that don't close?
The house so they're happy, and if I'm working with the seller is to get them to sell the house for the best price they can so that they're happy. So I don't believe in ego in negotiations. I don't own the property. I'm not here to stand on a soapbox and fight you tooth and nail. I'm here to say, hey, how can we as buyer agents and seller agents and listing agents work together to come to a solution to get this closed? And I had, before we got on today, I had I had a conversation with another agent, and my buyer wants him to give a notice to vacate on a 2-unit property to one of the units. We failed to notify him in the beginning that we wanted both. We only thought we wanted one. Therefore, Obviously, it was a mistake on the buyer's part. And I said, look, just give the other notice and tell the tenant if the buyer doesn't get the loan, you don't have to go anywhere. And he couldn't comprehend that. And I said, if we
Yeah.
don't do this, the buyer's going to walk. So you pick how you want to handle this. And he's arguing with me why it's wrong. And I'm like, you're missing the point. No one's saying that we're right or wrong. I'm
Right.
saying if we don't do this, we will not close. And I think the reality is too many agents can't see beyond their own right or wrong, black or white, and understand
Mhm.
that you're doing detrimental services to the deal. And I'll never
Yep.
let my ego or myself get in the way. I believe we should be like referees. And what a
Yep.
referee does in any sort of game is you stay out of the way. Nobody remembers a referee that does a good job. I used to referee high school and college basketball. Nobody remembers if you do a good job as a referee, nobody remembers who you are. That's how you
Yeah.
know you're doing a good job.
Yep. Yeah, and that's how you get 500 deals done in a year, right? Like you
Correct. I
can't
don't
get
have time for nonsense.
right. You
I
can't.
don't have time to argue with you. I don't have time to do all that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't get in the way. You have to be frictionless in this business, or as frictionless as possible. Because the second you create friction, that trickles down the line, and then you're dealing with lenders that are upset, title that's upset, lawyers are upset. Yeah, and it creates an issue, and then people get tired, and then they're like, screw it, this deal's dead anyway.
The
So,
reality is there's no need for it. There's no
right.
need to have friction. You and I can get along perfectly fine and get a transaction done and be on the opposite side. I would like nothing more than to finish 360 deals this year and have 360 seamless transactions when no one raises their blood pressure above the normal level. Like it's just
Good
not
luck with that one.
necessary. It's just not necessary. But
Right.
unfortunately, you're dealing with humans, and when you deal with humans, everybody's different. And at the end of the day, it takes a very high level of self-awareness to understand what I'm talking about and to
Mhm.
understand how important it is to be able to facilitate a transaction without getting in the way of the transaction.
You have your agents go back and just do a self assessment whenever something goes wrong.
So we ran a brokerage. We now run a brokerage very differently. Back in the day, we ran the brokerage and it was like a free for all. We had 250 agents. Everybody did their own thing. There was no oversight. It was chaos. We've since shrunk the brokerage in half. We now have a we have a team strategy and we have an independent strategy. Our team strategy is very much looking at self-reflection. We do a lot of self-reflection. We do a lot of critiquing. We do a lot of self-improvement, team improvement, communicative things that put everybody in a better spot. So we're really honing in on that. And I think the model that we have as a brokerage, in my opinion, I think because I've started to put time into this and really focus on it, is probably the best model out if you want agents to do a lot of production. And it mirrored exactly how I grew my business, and we're mirroring it for our 33 agents in the program. And we're seeing agents that are doing have 8 deals pending right now that were brand new. They're 1 year in the business and they got 8 deals pending. And I think
Love it.
it's because of what we're providing.
So, what are you guys providing that's maybe different from other brokerages or how you
So
ran things in
what
the
we've
past?
done is we've basically said real estate agents that are successful should focus only their time on new business, existing business, or prospecting, right? Whether that be on the phone or in person or whatever. So what we've set up is we've said we're going to have an admin for the team that you don't pay for. We're going to have a TC for the team that you don't pay for. We're going to have a scheduler to set up all your buyer and seller appointments that you don't pay for. We're going to have a runner to go to all your home inspections and your appraisals and your water meters and anything and walkthroughs and anything that you need that you don't pay for. And we're going to have team meetings that we're going to also have lead programs. So we got Zillow Flex. So we got a really good Zillow Flex program. So we're going to provide you with the leads over here. We're going to provide you with the support you need over here. And all you need to do is find business. And if you can't find business, it's your own fault. We took all the back end paperwork out of your hands. You don't put a
Yep.
listing up, you don't do a showing, you don't have to do anything but go get new business. And it costs you nothing. So in my opinion, that model is the best model for anyone looking to do high volume or a lot of transactions. It mirrors how I'm set up. It's the exact same way I'm set up. That's exactly how my program's set up for me. And that's why I was able to do so many deals.
I love it. I think the cool thing is you simplified the business, right? Because this business can be overly complicated. I think a large part of the reason why people suck is they see so many different things out there. Again, shiny objects, right? You've eliminated the shiny object syndrome. You just made one really bright light and said, go do the work. My motto is just show up. Like for us, that's my motto with my agents is I can give you everything you need to be successful. You just need to show up. And
Right. And we're taking it, in my opinion, we're taking it a step further and we're saying, show up. You have all the support you could possibly need as an agent. We don't need you to do 1 ounce of paperwork. Go sell. Go get in
yeah,
front of people. Just get in
yep,
front of people. That's all you need to do. And I think that this model is going to really take off as far as a model that can be scalable across the US. So we're trying to perfect it, and I think it's something that a lot of people, a lot of brokerages would utilize and do really well with.
yeah. Looking over the future, obviously we have a squeeze on a lot of stuff going on right now. So over the next 3 years, your motto has certainly it works obviously. What do you think that's going to separate those teams that from the ones that fold and the ones that grow? You think that's it? Just real simple, like something like that, creating a structure. Simple
Yeah,
as
because
that.
I think what happens is we will, as a team, avoid one of the biggest hurdles in real estate where complacency and distraction sets in when people get busy. So we are avoiding the hurdle and the ceiling that people face when they have a number of transactions. And what I mean by that is when someone gets to 5 to 10 transactions, the paperwork aspect becomes so overbearing, they can't bring any new business. So then they go a few months with no new business. We're taking that right off of their plate.
That's awesome. Gotcha. So if an agent only commits to one new habit today, what should it be?
I think it should be a calendar audit. I think that you should audit your calendar every single week. And I think what you need to do, I don't think I know, what you need to do is look and see where you're utilizing your time, how you're utilizing your time, and what can you do every day to utilize it better in what's called income producing activities. And if you start working on income producing activities and that's all you do every single day, you will be successful.
Yeah. The term I use is MMA, money making activities.
Yeah, same. Same thing.
Translates over.
It's the same thing. At the end of the day, dude, like I've never done a contract. I don't even know how to put a picture on MLS. I don't need to do that shit. That's not what I'm here for.
You've
I
got the
couldn't even
system
tell you how
down.
to upload or download or side load, whatever it is, a picture. Like, not my problem.
Yeah, that's everybody's dream right there is where you got to as far as
And
like
I'm giving
being
it to our
creative, right?
agents. I'm giving it to a group of 33 agents. I'm saying, here is the blueprint. Do you want the blueprint? Here is the blueprint. You can have it. We're going to pay for it.
Yeah. And I think the other cool thing about what you're doing is you've decided what you like to do now in the business. Like you weren't always in that position. In the beginning, you had to do the paperwork, you had to do all that.
Right.
But you've created a system now where agents can actually learn and focus on one thing. And I'm sure you've got W-2 positions in place for maybe the people that come in and start. Maybe that's their gateway into selling too.
Yeah, I mean, we know what works. We know who fits in what position. We know what we need for each position. We know how many positions we need. We know what we need. So like it's just 15 years of trial and error has got us to the point where we are. And I think the reality is it would take someone to get, and look, I think you said earlier, you were like, hey, people might look you as being cocky or confident or whatever. It's not that. It's that at the end of the day, I know the time. I work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for the past 10 years. I know what
Yeah.
I've put in. I know the effort I've put in. And until you can match that effort, the experience that I've garnered from that effort is invaluable. It's something that you can't teach, you can't read in a book. So all these things and steps we put in place, in my opinion, are really good golden nuggets for people to be successful. And I
So let's
want
talk about
everybody
that.
to
Let's get
win.
into your book a little bit because I feel like you have a very similar mentality as I do. I'm assuming you used to be a sports guy or probably still
Yeah,
are a huge sports guy. Like,
yeah,
I get that. I was a two-sport athlete in college myself. So
same.
you talk about reps and just getting all of those and 10 years of experience. That's where that comes from. I'm assuming that's where the book came from, the best version of being the best version of yourself. Talk a little bit about the book and how people can find it.
Yeah, I played college sports, played college basketball, played throughout high school, whatnot. I am probably the biggest Michael Jordan imitator, emulator, and admirer there is. I think his
Yeah.
mindset is. I think the Michael Jordan at his prime, his mindset was like, "Phew, dude, I get
Yeah.
emotional talking about it because it reminds me of how I think. It's just this competitive nature that it's like you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And I think at the end of the day, that's what drives the heck out of me and keeps driving me going forward. And when I look at the book was basically written for people that need quick couple liners here and there and just different things that can help you improve your mentality and be better today than tomorrow and better today than yesterday and better tomorrow than today. And I think that's the reality of why we did the book and why I wrote the book. And there's a lot of good nuggets in there that people can take away. But the biggest theme there is if you're not trying to improve every day, then you're just living to die, right? You're either dying to live or you're living to die. And what I mean by that
Mhm.
is most people that I see, I don't know how old you are, most people my age, I'm 43. So most people my age
46.
have what?
I'm 46.
Most people our age have packed it in, bro.
Right.
Oh, they packed it in. They already gave up. They're like my kids. Everything's about. Now I got two beautiful daughters, 13 and 10. But I'm not the guy that's gonna be like my whole life is just sitting home, and my kids are gonna see me vacuuming the floor and making grilled cheese. Like they're gonna see that their dad went out and went for it, man.
Right.
Like he's going for it. And I think
I think
unfortunately a
that's the
lot of
best teacher. I was doing a speech in front of lenders. I had 100 lenders in a thing I was the speaker at, and a lady at the end of it asked me, she goes, and I don't have kids, but she said to me, she goes, if you had kids, do you think your career track would be different? And I thought about it for 2 seconds, and I go, all my response was no. What would that teach my kids?
and that it's gonna I'm gonna give you something with that. The biggest excuse I find of people that are unsuccessful is they have kids. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you having kids has to do with you being unsuccessful. That's just not that's just not the way things work. That's not the way it works. That's not the way that if you take that mindset, yes, you're going to be unsuccessful. But for me, like, bro, I want to live to 125. Like, I'm down. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I want to
Right.
stay young. I do things to stay young. You're in. I can only see what I can see, but it looks like you're in shape. You're good. Like you're keeping yourself in shape. You're keeping yourself on point. I
Mhm.
think it's important.
Yeah.
That's mentally,
Yeah.
physically, spiritually, everything, emotionally, all
A
that
hundred
stuff.
percent. I think too. I think people use the kids as an excuse, and I turn it back to you. I'm assuming you don't miss your kids' sports events or important things either. You're scheduled it
Not
out. That's
one.
not what you're
So how
saying.
I Not one thing. How I schedule everything is my kid stuff comes first, and I book everything around that. So
Yeah.
every game my daughters play softball, every softball game for my oldest daughter, I'm at. Every dance recital, I go as many as I can. I'm not gonna lie on that. I go to the dance stuff like here and there. I'm struggling on the dance side, but I'll go to she dances. Let's say they do 14 dances in a day. I'll see one or two of them during the day. I can't
Hmm.
sit there for 15 hours, but I can. I'll be at every softball game, everything, and that's important, right? The end of the day, that's important, and that's what it
Yeah.
comes down to. But that's an excuse that people build in that they have kids so they
Yeah.
can't be successful anymore. I'm not buying what
Well,
you're
that's why I asked the question back the other way. Is that I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like, oh yeah, I put my kids over my success. Your kids are your success. I'm assuming
correct.
that's the reason why you're doing what you're doing is to teach them how to live their life, right? And you have 125 other kids essentially as agents in your brokerage, that you have to be a role model for as well.
I'm at a point now. My daughters are older. I've got a significant other now. I went through a divorce. We both got divorced. We both have older kids, and we're talking about now adopting a younger child because we want to give another kid a chance. We're fortunate
Yeah.
enough to be in a position where we have enough. We're monetarily safe and good, and we want to give a kid that doesn't have a chance.
Hell yeah. I love it, dude. I love it. So tell us where we can find that book. I think I might have to go pick it up after this.
So you can find the book. Go on Amazon. If you text me or email me, I'll send you a copy for free. Don't worry about paying for it. We'll take care of it. It's not. It wasn't a money grab. I'm not in that. I'm not a scam guy. I'm not trying to grab money. I just want people to win, bro. I just want to see people
Hmm.
eat and win. And if I'm here to help, I can help somebody. I'll help them. Ideally, love to get into coaching down the road and do a. I see myself in a way bigger coaching role across the whole U.S. on a sales from a sales capacity. But again, I still got it's. I go back to sports again. It's like I still got my legs in me. I'm still like Jordan in the '90s, bro. I'm still here. I'm not going
Yeah.
anywhere yet. I'm not ready to hang up the Jordans.
I hear you, dude. I hear you. All right, man. Kyle, it's been awesome having you on. Where can people find you then?
You guys can find me on social media. Just put in Kyle Seyboth or the Seyboth Team at Century 21 or Century 21 Limitless. You can find all that stuff. And if you want to look at the ADU stuff we have going on, it's N as in Nancy, E as in Edward, Tiny Homes. If you go on that website, it's got franchise opportunities. It also has opportunities if you want to learn more about the ADU business and the space. It's all right there.
Love it, man. Hey, guys, that was the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. Kyle Seyboth here. Thank you so much, Kyle, for coming on, man. Appreciate it. I'm motivated. I'm ready to go.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
So that's a wrap here on the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. Thank you so much for spending time with me and our guests. The people you hear on the show really aren't guessing. They've been doing the work. They've been doing it for a long time. They're sharing their behaviors, their habits, their successes, their systems that actually lead to real work, real success. So please subscribe and follow so you don't miss the next conversation. Until next time, remember, you don't suck. You're learning. It's the beginning, or maybe you're in a rut, but you don't suck. So make a few changes, stay curious, stay consistent, and please keep coming back.